So we have Miss Kandy K in the building.
What up?
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming out, man.
Appreciate it.
My first question, what part of the city are you representing?
Mississauga.
Saga City. So can you talk about like growing up in Saga City?
I mean, it was cool. Like, I'm not from the hood or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, it was cool. My mom made sure I was always good. She hustled when I was younger. So to make sure I had a good life and whatever. My parents broke up when I was like 7. And I was like seeing my dad back and forth. And then by the time I was 16, he just kind of, walked out of my life a little bit. And, I mean, by the time I was 18, I was doing my own thing. But growing up in Saga was cool.
Dope.
There's nothing really to it.
Yeah.
It's Saga, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, that's dope. On YouTube, I seen videos from like 2013.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I think you're flowing over that that song with Rick Ross there. He goes, the one where he's talking about the Molly and stuff, put the Molly in the drink. Like, you didn't even know it.
There's
There's a freestyle. You're freestyling.
You ain't even know it.
He's a lost, they chance for me. Now I'm ballin' out hard with the finest MC. He satisfies what's between the knees. Got the best mannerism by the way he please. Does it so good I won't ever cheat. The system, I got niggas who carry the pistol. Still manage to use they fist though. And my flow is so cold I see nipples.
It's down on a pair of shoes, you don't even know it. It's down on a purple lane, you don't even
know it. Yeah.
Rocky. I think Rocky's that name?
I think
Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco.
Yeah, and you're just like barring it up, man. So like, how did you get into the bars and like, spitting like that?
Well, I started off singing when I was 12, off a school project. We had to choose a type of poetry. I chose songwriting. We had to perform the songwriting, and my group chose singing. Found out I could sing through my peers. They were telling me I could sing.
Yeah.
Long story short, we started recording on cassette tapes. The older I got was the more I hung around men and or guys, boys at that age, and all my surroundings were all rappers. And I was just so intrigued with the mixtapes. I was so intrigued with just everything about a rapper. You know what I mean? Like you're not even famous and you have a mixtape.
Yeah.
So a good friend of mine back then, he was like, "Oh, let's do a song." I got a studio in my crib. I was like, "Cool." So we ended up doing a song, and I sung on it, and I was like, "Yo, I want to rap." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I want to rap." There's no I don't know any female like Eve was the last one, let's do this. And he was like, "Okay, let me see what you could do first." I'm like, "I don't even know where to begin with the rap." He's like, "Just rhyme." And it was so terrible. Oh my god, it was so shit. And then he wrote the second half. From there, we put the song out on Facebook. It did really well. Back then.
Yeah.
And
so what year are we talking about right now? Like what year?
I was like when I was 14. I'm 27 now, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, we put the song out. It did good. That was I think my first year of high school. And then I just had male rappers asking me to do records. So I started singing. I started rapping, and the guys started to like the rapping more. By the time I was 19, I had my first opportunity from Alicia Keys' former manager, who flew me out to New York for the rap. You know what I mean?
How's that experience?
I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
People don't realize that this industry, there's a lot to it. It's not just write, record. There's so much more to it. You know what I mean? And I wasn't ready. I was so frustrated with the fact that I couldn't get it right. I was like, I just love doing music. What do you mean there's a formula to this? What do you mean I have to sound a certain way, my cadence, I can't read? What do you mean? You know what I mean? I can't read my lyrics. Then I got sick when I was out there. I got really, really, really sick. And he was like, I was like, I can't come to the studio. He's like, what? I flew you out here to work. So if you don't want it, someone else will. And I was like, what does he mean? I'm sick, And that was when I was 19. Anyways, I went to the studio. We recorded, and I didn't have a sound back then. I didn't have a solid sound. I wasn't ready, but it was a great experience. Him and I are still really cool. Shout out to Jeff Robinson. That's dope. And then moving forward, I had several opportunities come, and it was always off my rap. But people always like the R&B too.
Yeah, that's dope. So who are some of your influences?
I hate people ask me that. Honestly, I don't really have a influence per se. If I just hear a certain song, that may influence me. I don't have a favorite rapper that influences everything I do. You know what I mean? It's all a matter of what inspires me. in that moment. You know what I mean? Like I may be talking to you today and hear someone perform upstairs and I'm gonna be like, yo, that's dope. That gave me an idea, or it may help me think outside the box. You know what I mean?
I got you. So like, who are the like artists you're listening to back in the day, like in your headphones and stuff like that? Like, who are you listening to?
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question. Biggie, Pac, Eve, Fab, 50 Cent, Ja Rule. That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
I listen to everything though. Back then, I've always listened to more R&B than rap. Always. It just R&B gives you a vibe. You know what I mean?
It does.
But
so who are some of your favorite R&B artists?
Now or back then?
Back then.
Mark Morrison.
Mark Morrison. Yeah. Turn on the Mac.
Yes. 702.
702. Where my girls at?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm R&B too. All right. Get in my bag.
Not SWV, but there's another one. SOS Band. That's
SOS
like
band,
before my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My parents would listen to them, so that rubbed off on me. What else? Everybody, like literally everybody. Like if you played any old school sample on a record, I'm the first to know what sample it is. Always.
Dope.
Always.
Dope. Like even a little snippet, you're
I've
like,
had producers be like, "There's no sample in there." I'll pull the sample up and they'll be like, "Oh shit, I didn't even realize there was a sample in there." You know what I mean?
For real.
Yeah.
One of those ones. Okay, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So like Toronto music right now, the whole scene's on fire right now, right?
Facts.
Who are some of the artists that you're listening to from the city right now?
Let me see. I don't necessarily listen to a lot of Toronto artists. I listen to a song from whatever song I think, may be hot. I was scrolling on my timeline and I saw Young Tory. He dropped his new record. And he like switched up his sound. And I'm like, this shit is hard.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the name of it, but it was like some rock star sound.
Yeah.
Syph be dropping some really dope stuff.
Big up Syph.
Yeah.
Solid Connection. Yeah. 1290. All day.
I think Duchess,
yeah, we had Duchess on. Yeah.
I seen that. Yeah, she dropped a record that was really hard. That's all I could think of right now in regards to hot records that I've heard recently.
Okay, so we talked about rap, we talked about like R&B. You said that like the school project basically like got you into R&B and like some of the artists that we talked about some of the artists that you like in R&B. But which one do you prefer better, like the rapping, because you could rap really well.
Thank you.
And then like you have these songs like R&B songs, like your latest song there, you're talking about like like going to the guy's house and you know what I mean, and like but he has a girl and you're there and like you know what I mean, like I feel like you have that side in you, or is this like like you're just, is it itching to come out?
Boy, you know just what you doing, how to do. Why you sell up on your neck, it's me in the mood. I try to fight temptation with you every time, but you keep on playing.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, you have that side in you, or is this like, like you're just, is it itching to come out, but you want to get it in certain slices, though?
Right. Like I said, I've got the most opportunities with the rap. I feel like the rap lane is wide open for females, but there isn't too many.
Yeah.
And now everyone's trying to be a rapper, but it's like some of us have really been doing this, like a lot of people, not to give myself too much credit, but I've had a lot of people in the past year call me a vet because I have been doing this for over 10 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm still not where I want to be and where I need to be. So, moral of the story, I get the most opportunities through rap. I feel like my confidence comes out with that, you know what I mean? And people underestimate me just off seeing me, and then when they hear me spit, they're like, "Oh, I was not expecting that."
Right.
Whereas like the R&B, like people already expect it just off looking at me. Like the moment I say I'm an artist, people just think I'm a singer.
Yeah.
So with the singing, I kind of tell stories and I exaggerate a little bit. So with the record that you're talking about called "I Will,"
There you go.
yes. There was a situation where I was like seeing a guy, nothing serious, like we were friends or whatever, and I liked him and he had a girl, but we were like, it was solely,
it's like everything was above board,
And long story short, we kissed, and that's where it cut off, you know what I mean? Like it was just, that was it, and I was like, I tell any guy, if you have a girl, I'm not the one to be. I'm not about to be a side chick. I'm not. And listen, if you got a good girl, don't mess it up because you may not be happy with me. I'm a headache. I let all guys know I'm a headache. So you know what I mean. But I just put my situations through. I put it in the music, in the R&B, like the situations that have to do with men, like the storytelling. I put it through the R&B stuff because I know I could put a twist on it, exaggerate it, and men want to hear it. You know what I mean? And girls can relate to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the rap, I could just do all kind of shit talking. I can story tell. I can make everything exaggerated, and I could make it so that you could bob your head anywhere. You know what I mean? So the R&B is more of like a feel good vibe, sensual vibe. It could turn you on. It can make you feel good, and more of a mood. My R&B is a mood. You know what I mean? Whereas the rap is like, I do every type of rap. So it's like every type of mood you may want comes through the rap. Whereas like it's only a sensual, emotional.
Yeah, through the R&B.
With R&B, exactly.
Okay, cool. So like before, you said you've been doing it for 10 years.
It's
right?
been over that.
Over 10 years. So people calling you a vet. So like what are some of the differences you see between like the old Toronto scene and like the new up and coming artists that are coming up now?
The old Toronto scene, there was a lot of real rappers. I remember growing up, there were like, when I first started, there wasn't, from what I remember in the city, like at my age, there wasn't any. Like, I think there was like Missy Me, and she was older than me at that time, right? So she was popping, but like, then in not Vibes Cartel, Cardinal Official, and I was young. So like in my age group, there wasn't really anybody. Rima Major came out.
Major, yeah.
And it was like real rappers, like real raw talent. Like Rima had real raw talent. Missy Me had real raw talent. Cardinal had real raw talent. I feel like now it's becoming oversaturated because all these one-hit wonders and like these guys that just pop a drug, go in the booth, make a good melody, pop up overnight. Everyone thinks they could do it now. You know what I mean? It's becoming really oversaturated. So it's not really about talent. It's not about talent anymore. Not really. It's not about talent anymore. Yeah. It's more just like, can you sell? That's it. Can you sell?
So like, we've been doing a lot of performances and stuff like that. Like, have you been watching any like performances or going to shows and seeing these guys live at all?
No, I'm OD busy.
OD, it is busy.
Yeah.
I get that. So
I'm prepared for my own shows.
Right. So, I seen you and Flo Rida doing a couple songs, right? Like, can you talk about that connection, like between like you and Flo Rida and
the rainbow down on the bar. I want candy, the sugar factory from Toronto to Miami. Florida got a sweet tooth, the mama come in handy. Drop it on the floor, pick it up, I need candy. You know she got a fanny. IG popping like nigga rubber band me. If you ain't got an appetite, you never understand me. If you ain't really about that life, she holla nigga fanny. I want candy.
I mean, I was signed to him for 2 years. You know what I mean? That's back then. I'm moving forward.
Okay.
I'm not signed to him no more. My choice. My choice. And it was a great experience. You know what I mean? I learned a lot through the situation. I am where I am today because of past experiences and being able to be signed to someone of that caliber and touring the world with him.
How was that? Like, can you talk about like the tours and like, because those must have been big shows. Huge like hit songs and stuff, right? Like international, like.
Oh yeah, the shows were ridiculous. I remember my first show was like 3,000 people, and he told me like an hour before the show I was performing. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I had nothing to wear. Run to like, it was like a store similar to the Bay in the States. It was in Alaska, and I threw it on. I didn't even know the words to the song I had just recorded. It was a song I did with him. Yeah. And he was, after I got off, it was such a rush.
Yeah, so talk about that experience. Like, you're just chilling and it's like, yo, you're going on stage. And then like, I was like,
what? Are you joking? He goes, I don't play about this. Like, I was like, he's like, what you think he was in Alaska for? I'm like, you didn't say I was performing. Like, I you know what I mean? Like, so he taught me to be ready at all times. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to be, what you have to do on the spot. Like, so he taught me to be ready at all times. The crowd reacted really well, but once I got off, he was like, oh, no. We got to work on this. We got to work on this performing. And I really learned the essence of performing through him. He's an entertainer, you know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of people think that they could just go up on stage, grab a mic, spit. And especially as a female,
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a room full of dudes. Like, I challenge myself to do that. I challenge myself to be in a room full of men and try to make them head nod. Even if they may be the biggest gangsters, you know what I mean? But if I could get the gangsters to head nod,
then you're good.
And that's off. And like I know different ways to do crowd control. I'm not perfect, but I know I've learned, through him. So yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned songwriting skills. I've met almost everybody in the industry during that time frame. It's opened a lot of doors, yeah.
That's dope, man. That's really dope. And I seen like you performing at KOD Miami.
Yeah, I performed at almost every club.
Like, how was that, man? Like, that's crazy. Like,
I performed at almost every club in Miami.
I see you throwing money and stuff. I'm like, wow, he was throwing money.
He did his
like,
research.
Whoa. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, can you talk about that experience as well? And like,
when I was signed to Flow, we would literally record a song in the studio. And that night, we would just go to the strip club and see if it bumps.
Wow.
We'd be like, let's see if the strippers dance to it. Like, let's see if they really vibe to it. That's how you know if a song's gonna fly,
Wow.
So we would record, and they'd be like, all right, let's go bring it to the club, and we'll come back to the studio. So we would do that. And then after I was signed to him, I just had, like, all the connects in Miami. So I would just host, perform on my own. I performed. I remember one time I hosted with Birdman, performed, and, like, everybody loved it.
Dope, man.
I take advantage of every opportunity I can get.
Yeah. So, like, how does that experience make you a better artist? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of artists from the city that are really dope, but they don't have that experience. They don't have that exposure to, like, real stars and, like, real performances. Like, we just recorded this song. Let's just go to KOD and see how, we don't really have that in Toronto, really, right?
You gotta... If I didn't step outside of Toronto, I wouldn't have learned everything I did. You know what I mean? You have to travel. You have to travel. You have to take risks. You have to not be afraid. Whatever you're afraid of, you have to challenge yourself to not be afraid of it. Because that's what's going to get you to the next level. It's your fear that holds you back. So that's what I would do. With or without Flow, with or without anybody. If I knew there was an opportunity, like if you told me P. Diddy was in the room, you know what I mean? And everyone's just sitting around. You got me messed up. I'm going over there. Diddy, what's up? Listen. Dropping some bars whether he likes it or not. You know what I mean? Like that. Those are the type of risks I would take.
Okay, dope.
I remember one time Snoop Dogg was in the city and I met him and I didn't give him my music. And he was like, oh, I'm going to be at the club later, come through. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, damn, I forgot to give him my music. Like, I was like a little starstruck, I wasn't expecting to see Snoop. So I was like, yo, rushed to Best Buy, got a USB stick, got the headphones and everything with it. On the way to the club, car shuts down. Breaks down. Yeah.
Fuck, for real.
So took a taxi, didn't know how I was gonna get home, went downtown, club's at full capacity. You know what I mean? And coincidentally I knew someone outside the club, he knew the owner, you know what I mean, paid him however much, $200, got us in, walked up, Snoop Dogg security was not trying to talk, like not trying to hear me out, nothing. And then Snoop looked up at me, he's like, oh, what's up? You came through. I'm like, yo, you gotta hear my music. You know what I mean? Like, I went through hell that night just to get in my music. I'm making it sound easy, but it wasn't.
It's not easy.
You got to take every risk to get heard or to. You never know what can come out of an opportunity.
That's true.
Anything that I would fear, I would do.
Just attack it.
Yeah, like when I was in Texas for South by Southwest this year.
Yeah, I seen you out there too, and yeah. How was that experience?
It was cool. I was out there for. There was a performance called, I think it was called the Six.
Six Rising.
Yeah, Six Rising. Yeah, shout out to Lucas, by the way.
Yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, he lined that up or whatever, which was dope. It was really cool. I had my other homie, China Mac. He's really big in New York right now, right?
Dope.
You heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I connected with him out there, and my boy Jen Gates. And long story short, China Mac was performing at this venue, and he's like, yo, come on in, we're about to perform. And it was all hood niggas, like
for real,
all gangsters. There was like no females in there, right? And I was like, I already know they're gonna rock with him because of his status, you know?
Yeah.
And he goes, yo, Kandy, you want to perform? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like a little hesitant because there were so many dudes, you know? And I'm like, shit, like I can't perform how I usually perform.
Yeah.
I can't bring my dancers up in front of because there's a time and place for things. So
wait. I don't want to interrupt you for a second. You say dancers?
Yes, my backup dancers.
Yeah, backup dancers. Yes. You got the whole package.
Shout out to the Reverb crew, yes.
Wow.
Yes, we do.
You're not playing?
No.
You're not playing?
No.
dancers and everything.
It's all about entertaining.
Wow.
Yeah. So
okay, sorry. Continue.
I put on a show. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Every time I get on stage, I want to do something different every time. Like even if it's slightly different. But anyways, China Max like, yo, you want to perform? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. And I was like, shit, do I want to do this? So I was like, yo, I want to go. And I was like, if I don't test myself, I'm holding myself back.
Right.
If these guys don't fuck with me after this, I know that's something I need to work on.
Right.
I'm in Texas. I don't know nobody. There's no one in Toronto out here.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I take an L, I take an L.
Right.
I went up there. I wasn't even, like, I was wearing, like Michael Kors little Skechers looking running shoes. You know what I mean? I went up there. I was like, I know what they're going to like. They're going to like my raw spitting.
Yeah.
So I went up there. I just spit a 16.
Sausage fest. I want to stir shit up a little bit. I'm going to start off with a little acapella, and then I'm going to drop a little record that's kind of hot right now. They say I'm too opinionated, shit is hard for me to fake it. Snakes showing love, man, it's hard for me to shake it. Should I strip or should I sell? Should I deal to pay a bill? Trick or go to hell? Only time will tell, the time's telling me that my tank been sitting on E. It's 5 in the morning and I'm writing the beats. My heart's beating double time just to make ends meet. I fucked up and let a nigga tell me how I can eat. I fucked up and let a nigga tell me how I can sleep. It's fucked up without a daddy to protect you from streets. Shit, I was working at the strip club, bitches giving dick rubs. I was storing drinks, finessing ballers for a pay stub. Karma came and hit me up, a nigga tried to take me out. Threw a molly in my drink, I was falling tripping out. Years in the game and I never thought it happened now. All for a dream, I got stories for the world now. I go by the name of...
And they was like, ooh, shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I dropped my record and they fucked with it. Like, even if they didn't hail me up that day, like yo, you killed it. I'll tell you, over 10, 15 dudes DM'd me. They found me on Instagram and they was like, yo, you killed that shit.
Dope.
I was not expecting that.
Dope.
So, mission accomplished. You know what I mean? I faced my fear, despite who was in that crowd, despite if it was all men or not. And they respected me at the end of the day.
Dope.
I didn't get hit on. I didn't get, like, booed. I didn't get, like, blank stares. I got respect.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So you check that off the bucket list now, right?
Yes.
Be like, yep, got that in my bag now.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the history now, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the present and the future. Like, what do you got coming up next? Like, what's coming up next for you?
I say this in every interview. I don't talk my plans.
You don't talk the plans.
No.
You just show it. You just
Absolutely. Yeah. I got some big stuff coming up though. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, your latest single, I Will, right?
I mean, it was kind of like a throwaway record.
Yeah.
Like my R&B stuff just kind of be throwaway records, and they just happen a lot of the times to do well. But the EP is my latest project.
Yes.
The EP is my latest. That's what I was really pushing, and it got the most feedback. I did a video to 4 out of the 5 songs I did.
Yeah.
My EP push. Pray until something happens.
Dope. So we just gotta wait and see what's coming up next with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
But stuff's coming. I just turned 27.
Well, happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy belated.
So I'm not trying to make it when I'm 30. You know what I mean? This shit's gonna happen this year, next year, latest. Mark my words.
Dope. So where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Kandy K Music with a K.
Okay.
Same thing with Twitter. Same thing with YouTube. And everything's Kandy K Music.
Dope.
Everything. Even my email, kandykmusic@gmail.
Dope. So what is the... Okay, one last question. What does the Kandy K stand for? What does the K stand for?
I used to go by Kandy Kisses.
Kisses.
My nickname is K. So my family and everyone calls me K.
Okay.
So on a mature level, we cut out the kisses. Just left it as Kandy K. I feel like it flows a little smoother. You know, you don't want. I can't really envision now that I'm older, guys being like, yeah, I listen to Kandy Kisses. Like I hear like, you rock with Kandy, you know what I mean, or Kandy K. Like it's more mature. So that's where I was going with it.
Okay, dope, man. Oh, thank you for coming out and doing this with us, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing all the new projects and all the videos, and we wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thank you for your time.
All right, cheers.
Appreciate it.
Drama.